This is the Sceptre 34-inch curved ultra-wide WQHD monitor. I just wanted to share my experience with this in case anyone else is considering it. The screen is 34 inches with a 21:9 aspect ratio and a resolution of 3440 by 1440. That combination gives me much more horizontal room than a regular 16:9 monitor. I can keep a browser, a document, and another app open at the same time without everything feeling cramped. The image also looks sharper than the 34-inch 1080p ultrawide monitors I've used. Text is easier for me to read, and small interface elements look cleaner. I think 3440 by 1440 is a sensible resolution for a screen this size. It gives me useful workspace without making text look soft. The 1500R curve is noticeable, but it did not take me long to get used to it. The edges sit closer to me than they would on a flat 34-inch panel. That helps when I'm looking between windows on opposite sides of the screen. I was a little worried that the curve would make normal desktop work feel strange, but it has not caused a problem for me. Setup was fairly simple. The base attaches to the stand, and the monitor sits securely once everything is tightened. The included stand has a wide V-shaped footprint, so I had to clear some space on my desk. The screen itself is wide, but the curve keeps the corners from reaching as far back as I expected. The stand only gives me basic tilt adjustment. I can angle the screen forward or backward, but I cannot adjust the height or swivel it from side to side. That is one of the main limitations for me. I had to adjust my chair and desk position to get the screen at a comfortable height. There is a 75 by 75 mm Visa mounting option. The mounting area is recessed, so the included spacers are useful when attaching a monitor arm. I would probably use an arm for long-term desk use. It would free up some desk space and make the screen easier to position. The version I used runs at 165 Hz through DisplayPort. Some current versions are listed with support up to 180 Hz, so I would check the exact revision before buying. Either way, DisplayPort is the connection I would use for high-refresh gaming. Movement looks much smoother than it does on a standard 60 Hz office monitor. Scrolling through long pages feels cleaner, and fast camera movement in games is easier for me to follow. Adaptive sync also helped reduce screen tearing when the frame rate changed. The monitor has a 1 millisecond MPRT mode, but that does not mean every pixel transition happens in 1 millisecond. It is a motion blur reduction setting that uses backlight control. I noticed that the screen became dimmer when I enabled it. I usually left it off because the normal high refresh mode was already smooth enough for me. This uses a VA panel. Dark scenes have stronger black levels than I normally see from basic IPS office monitors. Movies and games with a lot of shadows look less gray. The trade-off is some dark smearing during quick movement. I could see faint trails when a dark object moved across another dark background. It was not constantly distracting, but it is something I noticed. Color looked fairly natural after I made a few small adjustments. The claimed 99% sRGB coverage makes sense based on what I saw, although I did not measure it with a calibration tool. It works well for normal photo editing, videos, games, and general desktop use. I would still use a calibrated display for work that depends on exact color matching. HDR is available, but I kept my expectations modest. It can change the appearance of highlights and color, but this does not behave like a high-end HDR display with strong local dimming. I often prefer the standard picture mode because it gave me more predictable results across different apps. I like having two DisplayPort 1.4 inputs and two HDMI 2.0 inputs. It made it easy for me to keep more than one device connected. The HDMI inputs are limited to around 100 Hz at the full 3440 by 1440 resolution, so they are better suited to a laptop, console, or secondary computer. For 165 Hz or 180 Hz, DisplayPort is the better choice. Picture-by-picture is useful when I want two sources on the screen at once. I can place one computer on each side. Each side becomes narrower, but it works well for checking information from one system while working on another. I would not use it every day, though it is practical when I need it. The built-in speakers are convenient for basic audio. Dialogue is clear enough for short videos and system sounds. Music sounds thin and there is very little bass. I also heard some roughness when I pushed the volume higher. I ended up using headphones or separate speakers most of the time. The controls are physical buttons near the lower rear section. They work, but moving through the on-screen menu takes a little patience. I can change picture modes, color temperature, blue light settings, and input sources. Once I had the image set the way I liked, I did not need to open the menu very often. One small issue is the power light. It can flash while the connected computer is sleeping. I found that distracting in a dark room, so I sometimes turn the monitor off instead of leaving it in standby. The external power brick also became warm after longer sessions, but I did not have any stability problems. Compared with using two separate monitors, this gives me one continuous workspace with no bezel in the middle. Window management feels cleaner, and wide games make better use of my peripheral vision. Two monitors still give me more flexibility when I need different screen orientations or want one display placed higher than the other. I think this monitor makes the most sense for someone like me who wants a wide workspace for gaming, editing, spreadsheets, coding, or keeping several apps open. It is also a reasonable choice if strong contrast matters more than having the fastest possible dark pixel response. I would be more cautious if I needed a highly adjustable stand, strong built-in sound, or very accurate motion handling in dark competitive games. I would also make sure my graphics card can handle 3440 by 1440 at a high frame rate. This resolution requires more GPU power than regular 2560 by 1440. My experience has been mostly positive, with clear limits. I like the screen space, resolution, curve, contrast, and high refresh rate. I do not like the restricted stand, basic speakers, HDMI refresh limit, or the small amount of VA smearing. If those trade-offs sound manageable, I think it is worth considering. If there is anything else you want to know about the Sceptre 34-inch curved ultrawide WQHD monitor, leave a question in the comments. Thank you for watching.